You got a good excuse. You weren't feeling
Don't worry, you're not going to get sick from me. It's already over. It's already over, but if I cough in the middle, it's because I was sick earlier this week. Okay, so we're continuing in Torah Peh, in 80, and we started off, Rabbi Nachman said, the verse, Hashem oz la'amo yiten, Hashem yivarech et amo b'shalom. If you want to open the window. No? Yeah, okay. Hashem blesses his Jewish people with strength. And how does he do that? He gives them shalom. So Rabbi Nachman goes on to say that shalom is not shalom like we think, peace, but shalom is the equal distribution of two opposites. And the two opposites that he gives are chesed and gevurah, which is kindness and stringency. It says when you have the two of them together, you have this equilibrium, you have shalom. And that shalom, which he calls shnei hafachim, two opposites, that is the kli, the vessel for receiving all of the abundance and blessings from Hashem. And if you think about it, somebody who is too much chesed or too much gvura, Shalom Aleichem to Yael. I forgot to say hi to everyone. Hi to Aryeh and Mihira and Yael and Katie, who's going to be watching if she's not yet, and my mother, of course, and Avital and Carlos and David and Chaya. I don't even remember all the people that watch afterwards. L'chaim, Shalom Aleichem to everyone. So he says, we bring together these two opposites, where you have somebody who's too much chesed, too much gvura. You can't live with them. Somebody who never has any criticism, always smiles, things are always, always good. It'll make you insane. You'll say to the person, does anything ever bother you? No. You have the opposite, somebody who everything bothers them. That's a lot easier to understand, right? The person who nothing bothers them, we're like, oh, we can have a little bit more of that maybe. But the person who nothing makes them happy, that makes you crazy. But when you have somebody who knows to be kind when they need to be kind, and knows to be tough when they need to be tough, then you have shalom. That's really shalom. And that shalom is the strength that was given to the Jewish people. And this was shown in the greatest way through Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef brought all of these attributes together. And then we talked about misirut nefesh. We talked about self-sacrifice. And misirut nefesh is literally giving up your soul, giving up your life, which many Jews did throughout Jewish history. And they were given the choice of converting to another religion or doing one of the three transgressions that you're not allowed to do, that you have to give your life up for, which are idol worship, having illicit sexual relations, like if somebody says, have sex with this donkey or I'm going to kill you, you're not allowed to have sex with the donkey. Or if somebody gives you a gun and says, shoot your friend, or I'm going to shoot you, so you're not allowed to shoot your friend. So those are the three things. And there are known incidents of people that were Poshei Yisrael, not the greatest tzaddikim, the opposite. They were sinners in every way, transgressed in every way. But when Jews were being rounded up to go to Auschwitz or wherever it was, there were certain people who said, I'm also a Jew. And it was so important to them, it came out in such a strong way. That's misirut nefesh. So he says, where does this misirut nefesh come from? It comes from the combination of chesed and gvura. And that's when you reach this very high place. So that's where we left off last week. After he explained that peace or shalom is the vessel for receiving blessings, it's like lifting the hands. So I'm guessing lifting the hand of the Kohanim. I can't do both hands. I can only do one because I'm a Levi, I guess. I don't know. I wonder. I'm guessing most of the Kohanim can't actually do both of it. If it's really hereditary, then they probably could. So nosei kapayim, lifting up your hands, and it's bringing right hand and left hand together. So bringing two opposites, and it's smol docha. The left pushes away. Yamin mekarev or mekarevit is being closer. So we have the two opposites. Sometimes you need to push, and sometimes you need to bring closer, and you need to know when. Shabbat to Katie. So, what is the vessel for receiving the blessing? It's these two opposites, the raising up of the hands, chasadim gevurot, kindness and stringency, v'kiddush Hashem, and sanctifying Hashem's name. Ba'al yidei b'china zo, come through this attribute. Yiva'er she'et ha'b'china zo tzarich le'orer b'chol yom b'tfilato. This level of willing to sacrifice ourselves and have stringency and kindness and bring all this together, we're supposed to reach this place every day in davening. Shetiyeh b'misirut nefesh. That our davening should be on the level of misirut nefesh. Now that can be interpreted in many ways. The simple way that I understand misirut nefesh in the davening is instead of saying to Hashem, me, you say, Hashem, I need you to help me to have this. So Hashem, I need you to help me by parnasa. Not give me parnasa. I'm misirut nafshi. I'm giving my soul over to you, Hashem, asking you to help. I need help with children. I need help with health. I need help with all these things. To the point where somebody could stand there in davening and say, what am I? I'm nothing. Hashem, you're everything. And that's a type of misirut nefesh. But also, there's the famous lesson of Rabbi Akiva, and now we're in Sfirat HaOmer, because even though it used to be a joyous time, Sfirat HaOmer was the Omer sacrifice, but at the time of Rabbi Akiva, it was 24,000 students that died because they didn't respect one another. And you probably know the story. Well, how could that possibly be? If you're a tzaddik and you're a Talmid Chacham, how can you not respect one another? And it got to this, it seems bizarre to me, but that's how it's explained, that they all felt that they really knew what was better for the other person. Like really, but really. And okay, I heard what you have to say, but let me help you. And the other one says, no, let me help you. And their wanting to help one another was so deep that they weren't respecting one another. And when you're on this very high spiritual level, you get judged very severely, like Moshe Rabbeinu. What did Moshe do? The Jews in the desert were making him crazy. He said, hey, you rebels, you want some water? Here's your water. And that was it. But Hashem said, no, speak to the rock. Don't hit the rock. Speak to the rock. And instead he hit the rock. And because of that, he couldn't come into the land of Israel. He could see the land of Israel. He couldn't come in. He led the Jews in the desert for 40 years, but he couldn't come in. That seems like a really severe punishment. Like, Hashem, where's your kindness? And of course Hashem's kindness is in saying to Moshe that here, first of all, you get to see. You didn't get to lead everyone through all those years. And it's Hashem saying that, it was the last prayer. And Hashem saying to Moshe, don't daven anymore. It was, I think, 615 prayers that Moshe davened, and Hashem says, Ad kan, if you daven anymore, I'm going to have to accept your prayer. So do me a favor, don't daven anymore. And Moshe chose to not daven anymore. And so that's a kind of kindness and stringency as well. Okay, let's get back to the text here. I didn't get back to, sorry, I got lost of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva, so what would Rabbi Akiva do? When he would say Shema, he would imagine himself being killed in the four types of death? There's one strangling, there's one being stoned, there's one hot lead poured down your throat, and I guess throwing you off a cliff or something like that. Shalom nida. Should know from these things. Rabbi Akiva would imagine one of them or all of them when he would say Shema, and it was his dream to die al Kiddush Hashem. Which, if you think about it, if you're a tzaddik on the level of Rabbi Akiva, you want to leave this world like in a fiery flame. Like, you know you're leaving this world, so you want to get to the world to come with like the highest level of leaving this world. And the Romans scraping the skin off of your body and torturing you, that's pretty much it. And then smiling the whole time. And the students say, Rabbi Akiva, you're smiling? And he said, what do you mean, my whole life? And now I get to keep it, I'm not going to smile. So that's misirut nefesh in the davening. And I'll just add one more thing to that, what Rabbi Nachman says, and we've learned this lesson. I don't know if we're going to come across it in this section. He said that shows you the power of your thoughts. That if you think about death, you will lead yourself to an earlier death. If you think about life, you'll live a longer life. Or, it's all relative. So somebody might live to 50 years old, and you'll say, the guy talked about life all the time. Well, maybe he would have died at 40. I don't know. But your thoughts are very powerful. Wherever you put yourself mentally, that's where you are. And that's Rabbi Nachman's famous phrase, every place I go to Eretz Yisrael, which is what the Chevre and Mayinot like to sing Friday night. Where it came from, nobody knows. How it started, nobody knows, but now they sing it every Friday night. So if you see yourself in a certain place, then that's where you are. So he says, in the davening, you can reach this place of misirut nefesh, of literally giving yourself over. Klal haoleh me Torah zo leuvda u'maaseh. What's the thing that we can extract from this Torah in a most practical way? She Yosef hu mechaber hafachim. Yosef brings these two opposites together. Bibchinat shalom. This is the attribute of shalom. V'ashalom hu kli she'al yado bo yavo kol hashbot v'abachot Yisrael. And the shalom is the vessel for receiving all of the abundance and blessings for the Jewish people. V'kavanato yitbarach shemo bazeh. And what's Hashem's intention in saying this? Shemevarech et Yisrael b'kli hashalom. That Hashem is blessing the Jewish people with this vessel of shalom. Kadei sheyuchal kol adam ha'Yisraeli ledaber diburim shel kedusha lefnei Hashem yitbarach. Why is Hashem giving us this balance? So when he says shalom, it doesn't mean peace. It means the balance between one side and the other. It's so that we can stand before Hashem and speak the words of holy words, holy davening, and basically reach a higher spiritual place with our connection to Hashem. Peush, besamuch yitpaer, meaning that he's going to now explain, she dibor shel kedusha yesh bo shnei avachim. When a person speaks in their davening in a holy way, it includes two opposites. Yesh bo gvurot me'adibor ve'chasadim me'akadusha. We have gvura from the speech, and we have kindness from the holiness. V'lachen tzarich koach shel shalom. And so we need the power or potential of shalom, kedei lechaber et shnei avachim halalu, to connect these two things together. So when a person is davening, they need to bring these two things together in order to reach the place of balance. And we can only do that by having shalom. Umahu kedusha, and what is holiness? Al yedei misirut nefesh al kiddush Hashem, that a person is willing to give up their lives for Hashem. Chochma, ki spirat chochma nikra kedusha kanoda. So now Rabbi Nachman is going to get a little into proving his point in a textual way. Chochma, the attribute of or the sphera of Chokhmah, is called Kedusha, as everybody knows. Now we know. So when a person is speaking words of Torah or davening, using their wisdom and also their understanding, so you really know what you're saying. You're really paying attention to the meaning of it. You're not just saying the words. And they hear and they listen to what they're saying. Nikra Kedusha. This is called holiness. Kedusha Tadibor. This is the holiness of speech. Kedusha Ve'adibor. Did I skip something? Kedusha. Ve'yesh LaHashem Yitbarach ta'anug gadol mizeh. So when Hashem derives enormous pleasure from us davening, us saying words like Hashem help me. That phrase, Hashem help me, in davening, gives Hashem enormous pleasure. And what's the reason? Because that's why Hashem created the world. In order for us to be challenged by this world, in order to be in a world where Hashem is not revealed, and then to turn to Hashem of our own free choice. That's what gives Hashem the greatest pleasure. So if you need to take a loan, or you need to ask someone for help, or whatever it is, that's very important. But you need to also know that you're asking Hashem to help that person to help you. You know, God forbid you have to go to the doctor or have surgery. You say, you're not just saying, you're not davening to the surgeon. You're saying, Hashem, help the surgeon to do a good job to heal me. Now, you would think that if Hashem is running the world, then we shouldn't be going to a surgeon because we're turning our backs towards Hashem. But then the world couldn't exist, because the second that you would, go to the kesselmat of Hashem, put your deposit in, and you come out healthy, it's no longer nature. The world has to work in a way of nature and laws in order for us to have the free will. So the surgeon has to be there, the doctor has to be there, but we want to daven to Hashem, and when we do, that gives Hashem great pleasure. Ki nivne mizeh mochim de gadlut, because when we do this, it creates an expanded consciousness. Shehi chokhmah, which is wisdom, or the meaning of chokhmah. Shezo b'chinat kedusha, which is connected to holiness. V'adibor shu b'chinat Yerushalayim, and now he brings in a totally new concept here. And speech, which is connected to Jerusalem. V'zoi b'chinat sfirat hamalchut, and this is connected now to malchut. Just like throws it out there. So there's a note here. Bi'u inyan, and regarding explaining this matter, sha'al yedei shehu mechaven hetev b'diburei haTorah tefillah. So a person is concentrating when they're learning Torah, when they're davening. Umekasher et chokhmah im hadibur. You're connecting your brain with your speech. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm speaking the words of Torah, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm creating this connection. V'zeu b'chinat achibur chasadim gvurot. And this is connecting kindness and stringency. Ki sfirat chokhmah i b'chinat chesed. Because chokhmah, using your brain, is connected to chesed. Because chokhmah is on the right side, umimena nimshechat sfirat chesed, and underneath it comes chesed. V'sfirat malchut she b'chinat gvura, and malchut, which is the side of stringency, she'al yedei shehu osek b'torah v'avodat Hashem misirut nefesh. When a person puts their soul into their Torah learning and their davening, dahainu sheyaskir la'atzmo shehu muchan limtzor nafsho an kiddush Hashem, that a person reminds themselves that they're willing to give up their lives for the sake of Hashem. Umitorer b'chinat Yosef, and that pulls out the attribute of Yosef, b'chinat Shalom, which is connected to Shalom. Chibur chasadim gvrot, which is connected to the kindness and the stringency. Al yedei zeh yesh lo koach lechaber et hamachshava im hadibur. So when a person does this, then they have the power to connect their thought with their speech. You do that in davening, and you do that in learning Torah. V'zeh b'chinat katuv, and this is what it says regarding in Tehillim, Bonei Yerushalayim Havaya, that Hashem is the builder of Jerusalem. Jerusalem, that's good. Nitchei Yisrael Yichanes, the fringes of Israel will be gathered together in Jerusalem. And it's hidden at in this. Ki Yerushalayim hu b'chinat dibur. Yerushalayim is connected to speech, so now he's giving more text proofs. Kamo shekatuv, Malki Tzedek melech Shalem. So as it's written, Malki Tzedek was the king of Yerushalayim, is Shalem. One of the names of Yerushalayim is Shalem. Targum Unkulis, and Unkulis translates this as Malka de Yerushalayim, HaMelech she Yerushalayim. Hare, the king of Jerusalem, she b'chinat Yerushalayim, he b'chinat Tzedek, but Tzedek hu b'chinat dibur. So he says, so he's making all these connections here, and all these connections are in order to prove his point. So we have Yerushalayim, and Yerushalayim is connected to speech. And what's connected to Yerushalayim? Malki Tzedek is the king of Jerusalem. And we have the word Tzedek, and Tzedek is connected to speech. As it's written, Tzedek tidebrun. Tzedek, righteousness, is speaking. Nimtza Yerushalayim zoi b'chinat dibur. So it follows that Jerusalem is connected to speech. B'chinat sfirat malchut is connected to the attribute of malchut. Kamo shekatuv, Malki Tzedek, as it's written. So this is, Rabbi Nachman is very poetic. He brings together all of these concepts in a very, all these strings that he pulls together. In the beginning, you don't understand what he's doing, but when he pulls it together, you see a pattern. So I'm just going to follow through with this, and then it's going to become clear. Tzedek shehi Yerushalayim li b'chinat malchut, and Tzedek is connected to Jerusalem and connected to malchut. V'avai b'chinat mochin, and the name of Hashem is connected to expanded consciousness, kanoda, as it's known. V'zeu bonei Yerushalayim havaya, and this is the meaning that Hashem builds Jerusalem. Sha'amochin bonim et dibur, that we use our thought in order to build our speech. And when is Jerusalem built? Shenitchei Yisrael yikanes, when the furthest fringes of the Jewish people will be brought together. And who are these people that are the furthest from the Jewish people? Those are the sinners of the Jewish people. And when the sinners of the Jewish people are brought together with everyone else, achar kach kones al yedei shemoser atzmo al kiddush Hashem, they're brought together when they are willing to give up their lives for being a Jew. Ki gam elu hanidachim v'arechokim mekedushat Hashem, because those that are far away from the holiness of Hashem, muchanim limtzod nafsham al kiddush Hashem kanam, are willing to give up their lives for being connected to Hashem, as mentioned above. So he says, we're bringing thought and speech together. And what is the ultimate expression of the thought and speech coming together? It's when somebody who is an outright sinner, knows what they're doing, and they choose to sin, are willing to give up their lives for being a Jew. And then we have Nidchei Yisrael Yikanes. So we have the furthest fringes of the Jewish people that all come together. And this is what's happening in the davening. We're taking all of these thoughts and all of these feelings, and we're bringing our own fringes from all over the place, and we're bringing them together in our davening, and we're bringing it together with thought and speech. So the Nidchei Yisrael is also within us. There are parts of us that have no desire to have anything to do with Kedusha. Not interested. And then there's the Kohen Gadol that's inside of us. We have both of it. And when you get to the point where a person knows that they're willing to give up their life, that person, that part of you that says, I'm the biggest sinner and I'm never going to do anything for the Jewish people, all of a sudden wants to be connected. And we know this. We've seen it in many times. There's many stories of people that were completely disconnected and wanted to be connected through a type of misirut nefesh. There's a story that I remember reading, I don't remember where I read it, of this secular banker, this Jewish guy, who had converted to Christianity to become the head of a bank. And he was walking in the forest somewhere, and he sees a dead body floating in the river, and he sees that it's a Jew, a beard, and the guy is wearing tzitziot. And he looks around, and there's no one around. And he knows that nobody's going to bury this guy. And he knows that Burying a Jew is very important. So he takes off the tzitziot, and he digs a grave, and he buries this Jew, and then he put on the tzitziot, and he wore those tzitziot. And he told the story. Like I read it in a proper source. He told the story, and people asked him, where did this come from? Like, you converted to Christianity, you became a banker, you did things that Jews can't do, and here you are, totally turning your life upside down. He said, when I saw that Jew, I saw myself. I saw myself as also being dead. And I thought, wow, I'm going to die as a goy. I want to be a Jew. And burying that Jew lit something inside of me, and he wears the tzitziot to keep him connected to his Jewish soul. So that's just one of so many stories of people that, where does this spark come from? That's basically what Rabbi Nachman is saying. If we go back to the opening phrase, he says, Hashem oz lamo yiten. Hashem wants to give strength to the Jewish people. So that banker, Hashem wanted to give strength to that banker. And how did he do it? He did it through shalom. What was the act that he did to take somebody and bury them? It's chesed, but it's kavur. Because on the one hand, you're doing an act of kindness. On the other hand, you have to really get yourself together to do something like that. This is not a normal thing. This is not like giving 5 shekels to tzedakah. This is a very big deal, and especially if you're so far disconnected. Right, if you're the Baal Shem Tov, and you see a Jew that needs to be buried, you're like, Baruch Hashem, I get the zchut of burying this Jew. But somebody who's so far away and so disconnected that comes up and light the spark within the person, that's the blessing that Hashem wants to give. That is what Rabbi Nachman is saying with the opening quote. He wants to give us oz, he wants to give us strength. But what is the strength? It's a blessing. And how does the blessing come? It comes through bringing these two sides together. It comes through also bringing speech and thought together. And when you do that on the high enough level, even the furthest distance Jew will be connected. And that is the vessel for the blessing. That's the shalom. So we'll do a little bit more. Then I have a story for Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer is next Tuesday night. Probably is. Everything is on Tuesday night. Well, when is it? Tuesday night?
It's either Monday night or Tuesday night. Sure.
Okay. It always seems to happen. Tuesday nights is like either we get missiles from Yemen or Iran, or we get some holiday. But okay, we'll see. I mean, I have to check the calendar. If it's really Tuesday night,
Well,
I don't know.
if we just count, yesterday was 26.
Yeah.
So then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So from yesterday was Monday night. So 7 days from Monday night would be Monday night.
Monday night.
I think it's Monday night.
Okay. I'll come here regardless. Like if you're at a bonfire, that's fine. I'll come
We'll
here.
bring a torch.
That's it. Okay. לאחר שביאר מהן קדושה וירושלים. Now he's explained what is this holiness in Jerusalem, even though I can't say we fully understood it. We did get a little idea of it. שקדושה היא בחינת מוחים שם הוויה. Kedusha is having this consciousness of Hashem being there. שמתפלל בכוונה, that a person davens with intention. וירושלים היא בחינת דיבור. And Yerushalayim is connected to speech. ובצירוף שתיהם נוצרת בבחינת דיבור בקדושה. And when we bring the two of them together, we have speech with holiness. יבאר כיצד יבוא לדבר דיבור בקדושה. Okay, so now we have the two of them separately. How do we bring them together and have a speech of holiness? And I want to do this in just like 5 minutes or so. ונחזור לענייננו. So we're going to go back to our topic here. שעל ידי השלום יכול לדבר דיבורים בקדושה וטהרה כנ"ל. Through shalom, we're able to speak words of holiness and purity as mentioned above. והשלום הוא מחבר תרי שני אבכים. And shalom is the connection of two opposites as mentioned above, כנ"ל. Hainu chasadim gvrot, that is kindness and stringency. Hainu havayot, that is the names of Hashem. Shehu bechinat chasadim, kamo shekatuv, yomam yitzaveh Hashem chasto. So he's going to say there's different expressions of Hashem when the name Havaya, which is Yud-K and Vav-K, is used. That's an expression of Chesed. Bechinat Chesed, klomar. That is to say, Kasher Kadosh Baruch Hu rotzeh lashpiach Chesed ba'olam. When Hashem wants to bring abundance into the world, kindness into the world, unikah b'shem Havaya. He's called by the name of the, what's it called, Tetragrammaton? Tetragrammaton. Shalom Aleichem to everyone who joined us. Ve-shem Elokim hu gevurot. And when the name Elokim is used, it's connected to stringency. Ki Elokim hu bebchinat sfirat malchut, because that's connected to malchut, as we mentioned before. Kamo shekatuv, as written, Ve-Elokim manki mikedem. And Elokim is the king from ancient times. Sorry. Shem Elokim bebchinat malchut. V'malchut udin, kamo shekatuv v'chazal. So he says, okay, the name Elokim is connected to malchut, and malchut is connected to judgment. And here's the proof of that. Dina de malchuta dina, the judgment of the land, is the judgment. Hadin shegozeret hamalchut, hu din v'tzarich lekayamo. Whatever the law of the land is, you have to keep. Umikan. And from here, shesfirat hamalchut, that's how we extract that malchut is connected to judgment, which is stringency, which is gevura. So it follows that shalom is bringing together these two opposites, chasadim gevrot, kindness and stringency, mechaber shnei hashemot havaya ve'elokim. Let's bring the two types of Hashem's name together, the one of kindness and the one of judgment. V'lechen gam kein ne'amar b'Yosef, and so it's also said about Yosef, shu b'chinat shalom, which is an attribute of shalom. Chibot shnei avachim chasadim gvorot, that brought together these two opposites. Umi baladecha lo yarim ish et yado ve'et raglo. And when Yosef became the head of Egypt, the Pharaoh said to him, nobody will raise a hand or a foot without your word. Yado b'chinat mochim, and the hand is connected to thought, which is consciousness. Shu kamo shekatuv se'u yadechem kodesh, that, like it says, raise your hands up in the holy way. The Kodesh hu rishit, shene'amar, and Kodesh is first, as it said, Kodesh Yisrael Hashem rishit tevuata, that the Jewish people are the first of Hashem's harvest. V'reshit hu b'chinat chochma. I'm just going through this quickly because he's just bringing his proof to show his point here. And holiness is connected to, and Reshit is connected to wisdom. Reshit Chochma. I'm just going to skip over a little bit of this. Connected, all of these things are connected. V'raglo, and so the hand is connected to kindness and thought, and the foot is connected to stringency, and that's connected to also speech. Okay, and he gives all the proofs for that. If you needed them, I could send you a screenshot. Yevaer et shalom kli abacha yemaleh kadosh baruch hu Yeshua gashmit al yada. So this is where I wanted to get to. He's going to now explain that this vessel for receiving the blessing enables Hashem to bring down physical abundance in this world. Yavi lanu gam Yeshua uchnit b'bchinat Torah chadasha. It can also bring us a new Torah, so physical and spiritual abundance. Follows regarding the verse about Yosef that nobody will lift a hand or a foot without you saying. It's connected to kindness and stringency. Chasadim gvorot. Kanal Yosef hu shalom mechaber shnei avachim yoter leyod echad. Yosef brings these two opposites together. Right, if you think about Yosef's rule, what was he doing? He was saving for 7 years, the 7 years of abundance for the 7 years of starvation, or what's it called? Famine, thank you. So he had chesed and he had gvura. And that, ve'alidei kli hashalom hanasem mechibol zeh, and from the vessel of shalom that's created from this connection, yavo yeshuot v'achot v'gashmiyot v'ruchniut. That allows Hashem to bring an abundance in a physical and a spiritual way. Hainu al yedei zeh sheba bracha v'yeshua v'gashmiyut v'kli hashalom ba gam bebracha v'ruchniut. That is, that this creates a vessel for Hashem to bring down physical and spiritual abundance. As it's written, Ushavtam mayim b'sason mimane Yeshua, that you drew water with joy, and that was the source of your salvation. And Onkelos translates this as Tikablun ulpan chada, that you'll receive new Torahs. Hainu sha'alidei ha-yeshua yavod Torah v'ulpan chada limudim chadashim meit haborei yitbarach shemo. That is, Hashem will give you new ways of understanding the Torah when you create this vessel. So you understand what he's saying. He's saying, then we're just going to stop there for tonight. So let me read the last sentence. Hainu, kafi ma shehu mukhan imtzo nafsho al kiddush Hashem b'shat tefillah v'limud Torah, according to the level that a person is willing to give up their lives for Hashem and learning Torah and davening, v'inyan ze mitbateh b'chibur v'mochim shelo ima dibur, and all of this is connected with a person's thought and their speech, she'oseh shalom b'neihem, that causes peace or equal between the right and the left, shezeh b'chinat misirut nefesh, which is a type of self-sacrifice. So what he's saying is that when we can bring all this together, when we're able to ask Hashem for what we need in davening, when we're able to learn Torah and have our mind focused on the Torah, we're creating a vessel. We're actually creating a vessel to receive both physical and spiritual abundance. So the spiritual we can understand. I don't know, I think it's the easier one to understand. Because you say, Hashem, I need help. Hashem, I need help. Hashem, I need help. And let's say that's your prayer. In the simplest way, Hashem, I need help. And then you meet your friend who 2 weeks ago you told them you're broken, can't take it anymore. And they say, how are you doing? You say, I'm okay, Not great, but I'm okay. Like, what happened? I say, I don't know. I just kept saying, Hashem, I need help. Hashem, I need help. Hashem, I need help. But what happened? You made a vessel. By you saying that prayer, you made a vessel for Hashem to help you. Now, what about in the physical way? So I always bring the example of kids' weddings. And it's not just that, it happens regularly, Baruch Hashem. It's quite amazing. I say, Hashem, I need this amount of money. Like, Hashem, I'm not going to have this money. And then usually comes down to like the last second or a day after I needed the money. And then the money comes, but it actually comes. Because I get to the point where I realize, and I really hope that Hashem will just bless me with a lot of wealth. And enough of this. Okay, you love my davening, Hashem, I get it. But how about giving me a little menuchat nefesh in this world? And maybe it's not what Hashem wants. It's literally like this. Like, you take this box and you just go like this. I'll bet if I stood on the street like this and I didn't say a word, people would just put money in the box. Not everybody, but people would put money in the box. And if there's some, then people will put more. And I wouldn't need to say a word. If people say to me, what are you collecting it for? And just say, I have a note, Taniti bo. I'm doing a fast of not speaking. And people would put money in. Now, if I closed the box, or I didn't have the box at all, and I just stood there, everybody would just walk past me. So that's what the davening does to receive gashmiut, to receive physically things that seem beyond nature. But the way that you do it is by davening to Hashem. And that's what Rabbi Nachman is saying this lesson here. Okay. So now I have a short story with the Heilige Baal Shem Tov about Lag BaOmer. So Lag BaOmer, everybody knows, it's the yard site of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon compiled the Zohar, and the Zohar is a perush, an explanation of the Torah, in a deep Kabbalistic way. In order to understand the Zohar, you have to understand many Kabbalistic concepts, and be able to connect them kind of in real time. It's not something that really explains itself. And Chassidus, all of this stuff is based on Zohar, is based on the revelations of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He died in the year 160. He was a student of Rabbi Akiva, and he and his son, there was a decree by the Roman Emperor that they had to, you couldn't teach Torah publicly, and he did. He had to flee for his life. They fled into a cave in the Galilee. Was it in Meron? Or he's just buried in Meron, the cave.
He's just buried in Meron.
But it was in the general area, I guess Sipuri or something like that. And there was a miraculous carob tree, and there was a spring, and they had all these miracles. They learned Torah for, I think it was 13 years. And then they came out, and they were on such a high spiritual level, they burned a farmer on fire and burned his crop. So Hashem is like, you guys back in the cave. They went back in the cave. They came out the next year, and now they were ready. And when Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai passed away, so he knew he was leaving this world, he laid on his deathbed, and he told his top student, Reb Abba, who whenever somebody hears, my full name is Abba Barak, so whenever I get called up and somebody knows, like, Rabbi Shimon's Talmud. So he sat there, I read this whole story, it wasn't in the Zohar, but it was like an introduction to the Zohar. There's a section, I forgot what it's called, but my Chavruta likes to learn it every year on Lag BaOmer, when he knows that it's Lag BaOmer. He showed up today, Baruch Hashem. It's okay, he lives in Rosh Hashanah all the time, it's amazing. So he sat there, I'm telling you a different story that I wanted to tell, but I'll get to this story because this is a short one. He sat there at the bed, not looking at Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Shimon was giving over Torahs and he's writing down everything. There was this fire surrounding Rabbi Shimon, there was a fire surrounding the house, so that's apparently where the fire comes from. The fire is a yard site candle, the fire is the fire of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And the fire also could be, I'm just speculating, that since the plague was over, they had clothes to burn and stuff to burn. I don't know, could have been related to that as well. So Lag BaOmer becomes this big celebration. If you listen to my podcast this week, which unfortunately I recorded tonight, just before I came here, which means I have no time to edit tomorrow, but I have some great stories about Lag BaOmer. So here's another one. Before the Baal Shem Tov revealed himself, he was a simple laborer, so he made bricks from mud. And he would go around, I didn't say in this story, but I'm guessing at this point he was probably married, probably got married very young. And his wife came from a wealthy home and was willing to give up wealth in order to be with this great tzaddik. But at the time he was a hidden tzaddik, and there was some town where there were Jews, and he started hanging out with them like a few weeks in advance. And then they told him that there's a rumor that the Cossacks are coming. The Cossacks were ruthless Ukrainians that murdered Jews. I don't remember how many they murdered, 100,000 or something like that, which at the time was the Holocaust. It was beyond the Holocaust, because the Holocaust they had gas, but every person had to be killed with a hand, with a knife or a hand or something. It was that's a crazy thing to kill 100,000 people, especially innocent people, with your own two hands. So people were very scared of the Cossacks, and the village decided that they were going to run to the hills, and there were caves in the hills, and they just left everything and abandoned. And a few days later, the Cossacks showed up, and they saw there's no Jews there, so they just started stealing everything from their houses. Okay, no Jews to kill, we'll just steal everything. And they're watching this, but at least they're alive. And they were a little worried, and they said, the Cossacks will eventually come and find us in these caves. And it happened to be Lag BaOmer, the day of Lag BaOmer. And the Baal Shem Tov says, they didn't know he was the Baal Shem Tov. They called him a Shrulik or Yisraelik. And he said, I'm taking all the kids, and whoever wants to come, we're going on a hike. We're going for a march. We're marching for Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And everybody said, you're crazy, the Cossacks will kill us. But all the kids were game. They were like, let's go, sick of being in these caves. And some adults came along to make sure that the kids weren't, God forbid anything happened to them. And they're marching and they're singing and everyone's really getting into it. And at first they thought this guy, Yisrael, he's just like some simple guy. But all of a sudden they see him like with this holy fire. They see this energy. They see this confidence. And he's marching and he's singing songs with the kids, and the kids are all marching in step, and everyone's marching in step. And the Cossacks hear this at a distance. They hear the singing, they hear the footsteps, and they think there's an army coming. So they all flee. And eventually, the Baal Shem Tov tells everyone, come out of the caves, you can come back home. And they understood that it was because of Rabbi Shimon that they were saved. When they went to look to thank the Baal Shem Tov, he had already disappeared, already on his way to his next mission. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we should receive all the blessings and abundance and the merit of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And we'll continue again next week. Shkoyach to everyone.